No, it's okay. Is everything okay over there? Is it snowing up there too? I can imagine upstate it must be a little. You must have got it worse than we got it down here. Really? Oh wow. Well, I need to take a trip up there because it is cold. Um, yeah, for sure. Is this a good time? Do you have? 'Cause I know you said you was at 11, and I know you got pushed back. Is this a good time to kind of hop on? Okay, cool. I sent you an email last night, kind of after our call. Did you receive it? Okay, cool. In that email, there's a link. It's like a join.me/Andrew J. Kopp. If you click it, okay. Oh, wow, you are. So let me turn on my screen. Okay, cool. One moment. Can you see me? All right, cool. All right, cool. So, definitely, I'm gonna take before I kind of just take you through my process and kind of what I do for my clients to deliver results. I'm just gonna ask you kind of just like I just have a few questions to kind of ask you, just so I can understand your unique challenges and your situation. Because obviously, the last thing I want to do is kind of just talk to you about some stuff you could care less about. So, would that be okay if I just ask you some questions just to make sure I'm like the right fit for you? Okay, cool. So, number one is I know you probably, like I said yesterday, that I know you probably get hit up for marketing all the time. So the first question I love to ask just to kind of understand your mindset is like, what kind of motivated you to get on the call today? Like what unique challenges or problems are you facing that I might be able to help you with or that you're seeking help with? Okay. Uh-huh.
So I do a lot of the stuff on my own. I do everything super budge. So if I am going to outsource, it's got to be within a reasonable price.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of the things we have internal staff to do, but if there's items that are above and beyond that could help, I'm always open to see what those could be.
Right.
One thing we're not on, but I would like to be on, is YouTube.
Okay, great.
And possibly musically as well.
Okay.
I see that as being something popping up in the near future too.
May I ask you a question? Do you have any children?
I do.
Is that how you know about Musically?
Yep.
Okay, great. Because business owners they barely know about YouTube. Nevertheless, Musically. So that's funny. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you want to be on YouTube and Musically. Now you said you worked with a PR and marketing firm.
Yes, it was my own.
Oh, that was. Oh, so you have a background in marketing before you went into medical spas?
Yep, that's my background. I
Really?
did PR and marketing before coming to the spa.
What made you make that switch?
Just the spa industry, my own healing path. So that's one of the reasons. And I also I make all the products here at the spa.
Right.
So there's over 200 products that we make. So just the passion for the products, the making eco-friendly products that people can trust and know that there's no chemicals or crazy stuff in. So that's one of the reasons. It's just really a passion for me.
Right. So when it comes to the marketing, were you focused more in kind of like the spa industry? Is that what you mainly focused on? And then you was like, you know what, I'm just going to kind of do it myself? Or were you kind of just like doing any type of industry? And then you was like, no, like what kind of, like what was when the industry in your marketing, like what was the niche, if you will, if any?
For us, it's organic.
We're
the only business in this area that makes its own products.
Right.
And that's a very unique thing in itself. Is the spa, uses all the products and services that we make. So there's nobody else doing what we do.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Now, it makes sense that why you were on Groupon and stuff like that, coming from a marketing background. How is that working for you? Because when I speak to most business owners, they complain about Groupon all the time. Just as far as
We like it.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. The way that because we are a higher priority client with Groupon, we get better commission and compensation rates than other people do. So because we've been on the best of, we have over 1,000 reviews on Groupon, and they're all favorable.
Right.
So that makes us a moneymaker for Groupon.
Right.
So we've earned a lot of revenue for them.
Right.
So they're willing to really bend when it comes to the compensation part.
Right.
But still, it's not, what we typically get for our services, and we are very, we scrutinize how many we take and when we take them, so we spread it across the board evenly. But we do, every once in a while do these campaigns. I don't do them all year round.
Right. Right. Are you doing anything besides Groupon to bring in customers? Like any direct stuff, whether it's, paid advertising or, magazines or anything like that. What else are you doing?
My mix is predominantly digital. I do Google AdWords. I have Bing ads. I have Facebook ads. I do Instagram ads. I do every once in a while, around really big events, we'll do a like Christmas, Valentine's, Mother's Day.
Right.
I do paid advertising here, which drives gift card sales. So that's always good for us. But other than that, I don't like to do a lot of paid advertising.
Right. And when the paid advertising is done, who is the one doing it? Because I know you said that obviously you had your marketing firm and you do a lot of stuff in-house. How does that break up in-house?
Yep, I do it all here in-house.
Oh, so it's all you?
I also have a graphic design background. I do all the, the ads and the copy. So.
Wow. How many employees do you have at the spa?
20.
20. Wow. Okay. Okay, cool. And do any of them help you out with the marketing, or is it kind of just like, if I'm going to get it done right, I'm going to do it myself?
Some of them help with some social media posting, but I do all the marketing.
Right. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So I'm going to kind of get into the presentation, and it's good to know that you do a lot of paid advertising, so we could kind of keep it high level, while we speak. And at any time, if I get, confusing or I use jargon or anything like that, just stop me. And then we could kind of go from there. So, as you know, doing paid advertising, that targeting is everything, right? So, the number one, I guess, problem when I'm getting a client and bringing people on board, they always say like Facebook doesn't work or YouTube doesn't work. And you probably know this, but like they're just pressing boost, or they're just kind of using kind of the generic targeting platforms instead of getting their message and telling their story and getting in front of the right people who would care about that. So you being a medical spa, and I looked at your website, you have a lot of offerings, which is great because that gives us a lot of ammo to play with. I guess the number one question before we start going into your ideal customer is, when it comes to paid advertising, whether it's yourself or with me, us doing a test project, whatever, what product out of the whole suite that you have are you looking to like push the most? Because right here on Groupon, I can see you have like the facial treatment, or you have the sweetest massage. I guess what product, what service do you want to promote the most, whether it makes you the most money or whatever?
Well, okay, so probably one of the things that we need to do for this year is, and I'll just go back to digress. We aren't a med spa.
Right.
We are. We don't, integrate any sort of medical, treatments here. So that's one thing I'll just correct you on.
Okay.
But one of the things that I probably want to differentiate when it comes to advertising and what we want to target on for this year is just the fact that we make all of our own products and we're selling them online. I haven't pushed online sales of our products. So it would probably be more on concentrating on our products.
Okay, cool.
Our services are doing really great. Obviously we're generating more leads, and we're really busy when it comes to our services. Not today. Today is kind of one of those exceptions.
Right.
But it's been pretty good for us, and we're very busy. We're busy. All our weekends are constantly busy. Our weeks, we could fill in a couple things here and there, but I really want to to focus on products.
Okay.
So that's what I'm looking for this year.
Okay, great. So weekends are busy. Weekdays are so, but for the most part, you're doing great. So now for you and where you're at in your business, you want to focus mainly on the products. And like you said earlier in the call, you are the only one in the area who is making their own product all organically. So it's funny that you mentioned that, because actually my best friend, she works at a waxing spa out in Manhattan. And when she joined, like, you know, kind of like you, they have like 20 people that work there. And one thing, you know, how they make their money is they get people in, like loss leaders, you know, here's 50% off or whatever. And then her job is to kind of sell them on the products while they're getting their treatment or whatever. Do you have like a similar model to that, where once people get into it, because you're doing great with services, so I would imagine the 20 people that you have, their job is to kind of make, push those products and kind of do it like that. Is that where you're getting most of your sales from now when it comes to the products?
I'm having a hard time hearing. It's a little muffled. I didn't quite hear that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me better now? Okay, cool. I took you off speakerphone. Yeah. So what I was saying is that, you know, her wax. So my friend works at a waxing spot out in Manhattan, and similar to you, they have like 20 employees, and their business model is kind of, they use the services as a loss leader, where they'll give 15% off, free off your first waxing or whatever, and then once they get them in the door, it's up to those, the waxees or whatever, to kind of push the products. So I was wondering, because it seems like you want to increase your online sales for products. How are you currently pushing the products now? Is it kind of that same business model where people come in, they, you know, for your service, and then they leave with a bag or two of some of your organic products? Mm-hmm. 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 Right. Right. Yes. Right. Uh-huh. Okay, great. All right, so I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit just on the conversation, because obviously you're a marketing mind, and I love talking to people that actually that get it. So when it comes to the content and creation of the content and kind of demoing the product, because obviously that's the best way to sell anything, is to demonstrate the value. Do you have somebody who? Because I took a look at your YouTube, did a little stalking, obviously. It seems like you only have 2 videos on there currently that at least are published. Do you have somebody who's an active content creator or videographer? I know you do graphic design, like. Yeah, you have 2 videos. You have the one on the about page, and then there's like another one. Yeah. 2014. 2014. Yeah. Right. Okay, cool. So, all right, cool. So, and this might be a premature question. So, would you be looking for somebody to handle the actual videography of it? Because obviously I can do that. I just want to kind of know what you're looking for on the goal. Or would you like somebody just to handle the I guess the marketing side of it, and then you would have somebody that you can maybe find or whoever to do kind of the demonstration, the video, and that? Or are you looking for both? Right. Yes. Right. Right. Yes. Got it. Okay, got it. Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. So you could get somebody to make the video. It's just a matter of editing it and touching it up and put it in a way where if we put it in front of the right people, they know to click the button right now because you're demoing. Okay, great. That's good to know. Okay, great. So to kind of bring it back around to where we are now on the screen, the reason why I told you about my friend and her waxing company is because they obviously some products move better than others. So when it comes to, and again, I know you have a lot, but I guess for the folk, just for the brevity and to keep it simple, what products would you want to promote first, or what products do you see moving the most that have kind of that gravity towards it? Because obviously, like, each product is going to have its own story and its own reason why people would use it and the problems that it solves. So right now, what are the top one or maybe even two products that you see moving?
Think that just cleansing with soap and things like that is going to cleanse the face, but actually your face is turning over skin cells every 20 to 45 days, so you have to get the stuff off your skin, otherwise it looks pretty dull, or you could have a buildup of skin on your face and it doesn't look so great. So a lot of people are not using exfoliation products.
Right.
Another thing is face creams. That's the other thing. People are really into anti-aging anything right now.
Yes.
So face creams and things like that.
Okay. Cool. So I'm just taking some notes. Anti-aging. So those are kind of the two kind of basic products that are moving the best right now.
Yeah.
And for anti-aging, obviously that's an older crowd. For the exfoliation, how does it, when it comes to the people who are actually buying it? Is it a younger crowd that you making it aware? Like, who is kind of that target audience is buying that?
We're about 40% individuals that are 35 to 44.
35 to 44.
And the next big group, which is about 30%, is the 20s crowd.
Okay. Okay, cool. So the exfoliation is kind of for the younger to mid crowd, and then the anti-aging is for the older crowd. So between these two products, we could kind of just hit the whole market and see which one is moving the best from a digital standpoint. Okay, great. Okay, awesome. So I'm just going to take you through a few questions here on the slide. That way, we can just plug it in when the time comes. But I guess before we go here, out of these two products, which one, for the sake of this campaign, would you want to go with first?
Like with who is your ideal customer?
No, out of these two, the Solance and the anti-aging, which one would you want to do first?
Oh, probably anti-aging.
Okay, great. All right, cool. So for anti-aging, the people who buy it, like, who is the best customer for the anti-aging? Obviously, they're an older crowd, so 45 plus. But more than that, like, where do they live? Like, what do they watch? What are some of their interests? Kind of take me through that avatar.
Sure. Just to get some of the psychographic information. Sure.
Yeah.
So,
and by the way, not to interrupt you, you said you've done Facebook advertising in the past. Have you used the Power Editor, or did you just do basic posts, boosting posts?
Yeah, I always do the advanced editing.
Okay, great. So obviously, I got the computer. There we go. So obviously, that we can kind of just plug this stuff in right here on Facebook. I'm not sure if you're looking at my screen, but we could just plug all this stuff in. So it's kind of just a matter of me taking the ammo out of your, out of this call and kind of just plugging it in. So the more that we get, obviously, we can just test it and see, okay, well, this audience is working, or, this interest is not. So let's shut this off, turn this more up. So that's kind of the purpose of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. So they're 45 plus. What else do we know about them?
Sure. So these are people who are really interested in the organic movement. As far as TV shows and things like that that they watch, that's kind kind of a variable thing.
Right.
I would say a lot of people are probably scaling down from the media or scaling down from TV, and getting back to basics and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of a tough thing to answer.
Right.
We've never surveyed our crowd, quite honestly, about what kind of, media that they're using.
Right.
But, these are really kind of people who care a lot about what they're putting in and on their body.
Mm-hmm.
They are interested in, healthy foods and, organic foods,
Right.
eating whole foods. So these wouldn't be people that would be hitting necessarily, fast food chains or things
Mm-hmm.
like that. They'd probably be going to, the Whole Foods or, Trader Joe's,
Okay.
things like that. As far as events and places that they would eat, I think these are people also who have gluten allergies or are, are concerned about what they're eating because there's one or two things in their diet that's causing inflammation in their bodies.
Right.
So they might be, eating at places that concentrate on gluten-free. I think, for the most part, we have a lot of people who are interested in music. So I would say music events.
So yeah, so I love. So I'm gonna dig a little deeper into the stuff you just said because I think it was great. Like, so for example, I have a lot of restaurant clients and they don't even care. Like for us, we don't even care about the interest sometimes because all we do is like birthday campaigns. It's your birthday, come and get a free entree or whatever, anniversaries and things like that. So for different industries, some of these questions aren't really relevant because that's not the way to identify the customer. But what you just said is music. So I know you have kids. I love Drake. I don't know about you. I'm a huge Drake fan. No, I don't think people who are 45 plus will feel the same way. So what kind of artists would they like?
Say that again. What did you say? Great?
Oh, 1 second. I'm sorry. Yeah, what I was saying is that I love Drake, and I know the 45 and older crowd probably wouldn't feel the same way. But what music artists would they like? Like U2, maybe Paul McCartney, like stuff like that. I'm not even too sure who that crowd would like. Mm. By the way, are you a Drake fan? Do you like Drake? Mm. Right. Uh-huh. By the way, who do you like? I want to see if we have the same taste. Are you a huge Drake fan or not really? Oh, wow. Okay. All right, we'll move on. We'll move on from there. Well, Drake is a music artist, so like he's a rapper, but he does a lot of singing and stuff too. So your kids might know who he is. He's huge in like kind of that. We'll just move on. We'll just move on. But okay, cool. Mm. Okay. So you're upstate Latino. I'm gonna go J Lo. I'm gonna go Mark Anthony. Is that kind of that, or is that too older? Uh huh. Okay. So you weren't watching the Grammys the other night, huh? Yeah, they're so out of touch. It's ridiculous. I don't even watch them anymore. It's like a joke at this point. Yeah, but I digress. So cool. So Whole Foods is great. Trader Joe's is great. So the questions I would have is people who are gluten allergic. Is there any kind of like medicine or some type of thing like that where if I'm gluten allergic or I'm pay attention to my health, that I would like that page on Facebook or something like that. Like if I'm gluten allergic, I'm liking this because this is like the medicine for me or something like that. Hmm. 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 Right. Right. All right. Perfect. Hmm. Right, right. Okay, perfect. So what I'll do is, I'll do my research and say, okay, based off people who, are vegan or, don't care about GMO, these are some fan pages that they would like. Because it's just a matter of getting the right message in front of the right people. So that's something I would kind of do is I would just do some Google searches and see if there's any like associations or anything like that where the only people in the world who would like this page is a vegan or somebody who's gluten allergic or something like that. So okay, great. So Whole Foods great, Trader Joe's. We understand that they're pay attention to the health. Anything else surrounding the organic movement? Like any events or any kind of like gurus who are kind of taking the charge in the organic movement? Can you spell that for me? I can't even. Gwyneth, who? Paltrow. Okay. Group. Okay. Right. Hmm. Hmm. Please, please do. Am I putting you on the spot, or do you have that off the top of your head? Because kind of, I guess the mindset behind it, it's kind of like you just said with music, right? The problem is when people are too mainstream, that it might not just be our target audience who likes them because they're too mainstream. So we might get like Jane Doe who doesn't even care about anything organic. So the more underground people that we know, we can say, okay, the only person who's gonna like this guru is somebody who's really paying attention to the movement because they have no mainstream appeal at all. So I guess the less mainstream we go, the more we can increase our chances of getting our message in front of the right person. So do you have anybody else on top of mind? And then obviously we could correspond and get more names. Okay. Hmm. 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 Right. Ahead of it. Right. Right. Okay. Perfect. Oh wow. What's the event name that you're going to in the city? Okay. New York now. Okay. And is it kind of just something like business owners like yourself go to, or is it kind of just anybody who cares about health and beauty in general? Hmm. Right. Perfect. Okay. Mm. Right. 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 And just out of curiosity, when you go to events like this, I know you have your own lab. Do you kind of go and then see some trends and maybe make a few more products, or take it back to the lab to kind of experiment? Is that kind of like your secret sauce? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Okay, great. Cool. So let me move on. 'Cause I think I got enough when it comes to the targeting, and then we could put something together and then get a little bit more specific. So I think we touched on it a little bit just before, because what I was going to bring up to you on the call was just the content, right? The first thing I was going to say, and you beat me to the punch, was the YouTube. I would love to see that increased, and I would, especially now that we're talking about products, would love to see that demonstrated. Would love to see different customer stories on the results, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to sell. So I made this ad specifically for services, which we're not really talking about today on this call, but it's kind of the same concept. So I guess the first question wouldn't really apply, but I'll ask it anyway. The question I would ask you if we were talking about services would be, in the last 12 months, what has been the promotion that you ran to get the most people in the door? So I'll just flip that and say, in the last 12 months, has anything made people buy some of these products more than another month or another week? Yeah, maybe. I know you said you don't want to get too big with the product, so you might not have even pushed the products to the capacity that you want to. But have you done anything, or run any campaigns or any promotions around products specifically? Okay, no, you haven't. Okay, okay, right. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So you haven't done any promotions, but the fact that we know who wants to buy the anti-aging is great. Now, my second question would be, it seems like you don't have a library of videos or pictures stashed away in a Dropbox, or am I mistaken about that? Like, do you have videos or pictures taken that you just haven't used because you're holding back, or do you not like have any stash? Right. 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 Hmm. Right, right. So the campaign you do, you want to kind of just to be a local campaign, but just for products. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Okay. Okay. So I guess I didn't hear you right. You said you weren't ready for a national campaign, or you weren't ready in the past, but now that you're ready. Okay. Great. Okay. Hmm. Yes. Right. 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 Okay. Perfect. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. And so, is there any way I could look at some of these pictures that you released? I'm on your website now on my second monitor. Is there any way like I could kind of pull it up? Where would I find that? Okay. Yes. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So I'll look at that while my computer loads. Um, and based off your knowledge, since you kind of run the marketing or definitely oversee it and are involved in it, out of all of the anti-aging products you have, has any gotten more engagement over another, or any like message got more likes than other? Did anything kind of stand out? Because YouTube, you're not really doing much there, so obviously nothing would stand out there. But on Facebook, has anything like popped out more than the average as far as engagement is concerned? Shares, likes, chatter. Okay. Okay. Now, if we were to take some of the physical data, when people come into the store, is there a specific anti-aging cream or whatever? Or maybe you just have, I know you said you have two kind of brands, but is there any anti-aging that stands out when people come in person, and then we could just amplify that online? Okay. 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 Right. Okay. Cool. But I think for the sake of this campaign, we probably want to focus on the latter, right? The mature one, just so we can make it more specific, the messaging. Okay, great. Now, are you, do you ever, because I know you say you have a marketing background, so before I make assumptions, have you ever written like video scripts or produced videos in your past, maybe for other clients when in your past life, or not really? Oh, you have? Okay, great. So, I actually do a lot of copywriting myself. Would you want to, is that something where you would want me to kind of give you a script or a concept, or do you feel comfortable producing the video and just giving it to me to kind of promote? Would you work together, or would you want to just take it over? Right. Mm. Right. Right. So let me ask you a question. So you had your own marketing brand. You started this kind of this spa and organic products. What's kind of your brand story? Maybe when you go out to these networking events or these spa and beauty events, when you speak to people, like, what's your story as far as like why you started? And the reason why I asked is because I have a specific traffic strategy that's worked well with my clients. And when people don't get results, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they like, they try to push their product like 20% off, right? They just take a corporate image and a stock image and they just post it 20% off, and then they're surprised when nobody buys because they're not really building that emotional, connection with their audience. So what I like to do sometimes is I like to, and you may know this, you could do like retargeting on Facebook, right? So if somebody's seen a video for 50%, you can then retarget everybody who's seen the video for 50%. And let's skip ahead so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So, and again, you might know this, so excuse me if I'm speaking about stuff you already know. But so when we talk about the Facebook ad, and I might just take a whiteboard because this might work better. Let me just draw it. Do you see the whiteboard, or am I lagging? Okay, great. All right, so sometimes what I like to do when it comes to content, and you hit the nail on the head because you just talked about how, because you understand that you have to speak about people's problems so they understand your expertise and then they trust you to buy it. So what I actually like to do is I like to start off with like a why story. So build like an emotional connection, right? So this is like my first video I like to start off with clients. And it's kind of like a why. So it's kind of like a 60-second video that's very emotional. So since we're promoting mature anti-aging, we want to kind of build a story around that, whether it's yourself or a client. We want to kind of build that and just make a great, a great video, great copy, and not really push people per se, but we want to build up this like kind of retargeting audience, and I'll tell you why in a second. So we want to kind of just make an emotional story about somebody's, kind of like, you ever heard of Humans of New York? Okay, so Humans of New York is a big brand on social media, and all they really do is they go around New York and they talk to strangers, and they just put their story on Instagram, and they have like over like 2 million followers. And people just love it because it's just like the craziest stories about people who overcome obstacles and their hardships and things like that. So what I actually like to do is I like to, when we're making our introduction to the national crowd or whatever regional crowd, I like to, push the product and put a little bit of promotion behind a product, a video that's not really selling anything, but selling a story, selling, the people you work with and how you've helped people see results. So that's the first thing I like to do. And then what we do is then we start to go a little bit down the pipeline. So then the next video we'll have is like an how-to video, right? So then I would put my how-to video here, but the only people who would see the how-to video is somebody who's, let me actually undo that. So anybody who's watched it maybe over 50%. Now the reason why I like to do that is because it's all about qualified eyeballs. And same thing as the service industry, right? You've had good luck on Groupon, but I know a lot of people hate Groupon because, the freeloaders, quote unquote, or whatever, it's not qualified. Like people come and they never come back. I used to live in LA actually, and I had class pass. So I used to just go to like yoga studio after yoga studio after yoga studio and, never buy anything. I was just on class pass. But it's kind of the same philosophy online, right? We want to make sure that every time people are seeing our messages and our stories that they're qualified. So the reason why I like to start with the why video is because the only person who's going to watch this whole why video is somebody. Number one, we're only promoting it to 45 people who are 45 and older. The copy is only going to resonate with people who are 45 and older. And then the only people who's going to watch the video over 50% are people who's experiencing the same issues. Do you understand? Okay. Yes. All right, cool. So, can I put you on speakerphone? And if I'm muffled, it's on speakerphone because I'm trying to record some of this. That way, you don't have to repeat yourself down the road. Okay. So I'm putting you on speakerphone. Are you good?
I'm here. Okay. So the reason why I say the 20s, people develop an awareness, and sometimes it happens a little bit earlier, but there's something that happens in the 20s where you develop a little bit more awareness about yourself in the world.
Okay.
You're out on your own, you're working, you have more independence, so and you're taking care of yourself. You're more self-reliant. So as you get into you're working, you may not be taking care of yourself completely. You might not have a proper balance in your life.
Right.
So there comes a time where all of that will catch up on you. And if you're, like me, for my story, I started having some weird thyroid issues. And so my journey came to kind of figuring out why I was having these. It was kind of like touch and go. I was having them here and there. And then I went to a gal who specialized in Ayurvedic medicine, and I worked with her, and she made me more aware that there's things that we're putting in on our bodies that are causing these disruptions, chemically in our bodies. So it started me on a path of trying to figure out, like, what am I putting in and on my body that's causing these issues? So I went on an organic diet. I stripped back all the products that I was using. I used organic products. I was making my own products, so that started about over 15 years ago now. So I really started monitoring all those things that were going in and out of my body. My skin, as I found out, is absorbing 60% of what I'm putting in it. In addition, my body is eating all of these, products that are laden with pesticides and processed foods and things that are not good for you. There's preservatives in the foods that cause hormone disruption and, thyroid issues as well. So, I just started taking those out of my diet and taking those products off of my body. And I pretty much cured the thyroid issue that I had. I haven't had a thyroid issue since that time, which happened, I guess I was 28 at the time when I went pretty much normal. And I contributed all to my diet and what I was putting on my body. So what I was putting in on my body was causing the issues. There's a really great site that I later discovered called the Environmental Working Group. It's a watchdog organization based out of Washington, D.C., and their primary focus is just to, monitor the health and beauty industry. They monitor all the ingredients. They have over 67,000 products that they monitor on a national level, and all the ingredients. They have a database that's quite extensive, and they'll tell you on a scale of 0 to 1 not having much of hazard to 6 to 7 being potentially cancerous in the body. So they have studies, peer-reviewed studies, based on the products that the health and beauty industry is using, and the mainstream products that you can pick up at any drugstore that are causing issues in the human body. So the other issue in the health and beauty industry is a lot of these cosmetic products and skincare products aren't regulated or made to be tested. So the real test comes on the human body. So there's no, like in the medical industry, you have, rigorous testing, and they look to see how the effects are over a 7-year or a 10-year, period. So, it's a big issue. But the most beneficial for me was just making sure that I knew exactly what was going on in my products or on my body, and just making sure that I was watching that all the time.
Wow.
So that's basically my story.
Right. That's an amazing story. And that's about the same time where is that the same time you kind of went full time with this, so you could kind of bring that to more people and bring that awareness to more people?
Yeah, exactly. It's about bringing the awareness to more people. Even with people who may not be able to afford really, high-end products, we try to make our products affordable to anybody. My big concern is just making sure that people are aware, wherever their background, whoever they are, and it's probably more education that I'm going to be doing than anything, but
right.
I have a lot of educational pieces that show, products that people should just be continuously avoiding putting in and on their bodies.
Right.
And there's a lot of resources out there too. But I would say that the biggest resource that aids me in my work is the Environmental Working Group's database called Skin Deep. And I use that and resource that all the time. Anytime I see a new ingredient, or when I'm actually shopping out there, I'm looking at that web page, and there's an app called Think Dirty now that's kind of on the trend, that you can actually scan a product when you're at the store, and it will tell you all of the things that are in there that are not so great for you.
Really? There's an app? What's that app called?
Think Dirty.
And then you just scan like the barcode or take a picture of all the ingredients, and it'll say, okay, this is not.
Yep.
Wow. Think Dirty.
Yep.
Wow. That's amazing stuff. So the Environmental Working Group, is that like a big thing? Do a lot of people know about that or not?
Yeah, really? Pretty big. It's based out of Washington, D.C., and it's a nonprofit organization that just monitors the whole health and beauty and cosmetic industry.
And do you feel like most other, I guess whether it's your competitors or whatever you want to call it, do you feel like they kind of neglect that side of the health and beauty industry, where they kind of, I guess, are irresponsible to the things that they're putting in their products, or maybe the products that they're, helping sell?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of my competitors are, they might even say that they're organic, but are still using mildly toxic ingredients to preserve their products. So they might use organic products, but in the end, they're using preservative bases that are not natural, that are toxic for the body.
Uh-huh. Okay, so
there's a really interesting a phrase out there. It's called greenwashing, and it's the definition of it is basically that these organic companies have created this whole campaign to make people buy into organic, but in the end, they're not really organic. They're just made to believe it. So really, people have to do their due diligence to kind of figure out whether or not something is truly good for them, and that's where I feel like some of my education is going to come into play for this year. Is just keeping people on their toes to make sure they're always looking at what they're putting in on their bodies, to do the research on it, and be an investigator.
Right. And that makes a lot of sense now that you say that. So you're saying your competitors, they have, they might be saying that it's organic, but they're putting some of these preservatives to help shelf life. And that's kind of, that helps me understand your fear, because I guess maybe what's held you back in the past is that you don't want to make so much inventory, because you have to be careful that it's getting out in a timely fashion, right? Because you don't have those same preservatives in there. So you want to make sure that you have the demand, so it can just get sent out and get to the person in fast manner, and then gives them some time to use it. Okay.
And everything is, and I guess there are quite a few sites, and people tell me about these all the time, where there's such a high demand. Well, maybe my brand would be that way if we went on at a national level. There might be a wait for it. There might be, because it is small batch, and it's not on the shelves, and it's not hanging out at a drugstore or another store for months and months and months. It's really something that you buy and that is made, kind of within a fresh period.
Right.
So, people are getting products that are always going to be continuously made fresh.
Right.
It's not going to be hanging around and shops laden full of preservatives that are going to extend its shelf life. So that is something, I've heard of people, purchasing from really kind of they have to have this kind of shops on the web right now, like the ones where you get this really great pair of shoes or this really great watch or something, and it takes a while to get it, and it's a couch or whatever. It's like a custom curated website where they bring out the freshest and the hottest styles, but you're sometimes waiting in the queue to get these things because they're very limited, custom crafted boutique items that are not available to just anybody.
Right. So the first thing that comes to my head when you say that is, in order to make this probably work in a way that is financially good for you and good for the customers, is a subscription model. Because if we get somebody in who wants, this anti-aging cream, I guess the most predictable way for you to make sure that they get it when they need it, and without you having to be stuck with the inventory, is maybe they sign up for a subscription where they get it every 30 days or every 60 days. That way, okay, when I'm making this bottle's going to be sent out in X amount of days. Is that something you've thought of in the past? Maybe a subscription model?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes, I could do that for sure.
Okay. Now, how much does these in particular this anti-aging cream, the mature one, how much does this cost?
$57 for a 2.3 ounce jar.
Okay, so $57 for a 2.3 ounce jar. And I guess just so I can understand your margins, about approximately how much does it cost to make?
It's based on the economy that's going on and what I'm getting the ingredients, but anywhere from $4 to $6.
Okay. $4 to $6. Okay, cool. All right, so that gives us. All right, so then the question would be, if it takes, worst case scenario, $6, and we're trying to sell it for 57, what is, the price to acquire a new customer? And then that's kind of where I come in, because the good thing, if it's a subscription model and we have an average lifetime value of 4, 5, 6 months, we can probably spend the $50 to acquire a customer. So that's kind of the numbers I would play with, and
well, the price could go up too. The overhead, especially if I change the way we in production, it's probably going to go up a little bit. I would say probably we're at more $10 range once we get done with overhead cost, but just the cost of the of me making it, which I'm the only one making it right now. But if I hire other people to do it, all of those costs go up.
Yeah.
But right now, it's just me doing it, so that keeps the cost really low.
I have a question, Vanessa. So to me, and before I ask that, do you do any of because it is a spa as well, do you do any like the massaging or anything like that, the treatments?
No.
Okay. Because I was just about to ask you, because you do the marketing, you do the product making. I was wondering, how do you sleep?
Oh, yeah. A lot of people ask me that, but I've got Energizer bunny skills. I've got mad Energizer bunny skills. Okay, right. Okay, cool. All right, so the first thing I'm thinking is that we try to, number one, we need the are you still by the computer? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. All right, so what I'm thinking we do is, I think we do a couple of stories, right? Whether it's the 40-year-old story, because these are the people who probably, just thinking economically, these are the people that probably would purchase it right now because, they're beyond aware, right? So I would want to do some stories like this for people who absolutely probably would order it tomorrow if they seen the video. And then we can mix it in with some of these 20-year-olds. And the cool thing about it, as you know, with digital marketing, we can just target 45, plus, and the people who like Trader Joe's, and some of the stuff that you said earlier that I wrote down, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, things like that. And then we could just target the same thing here, except we could just lower the age, 20 to 29 or 35 or whatever, and then we could just target the same stuff, Whole Foods, some of these associations, some of these gurus that you told me, and then we'll test. And then the cool thing about it, just kind of getting back to the strategies, we'll do the same thing. We'll 50%. Now, the only thing that probably would change, and I'm not sure how much it would change, is some of these educational videos, right? So some of the educational videos that you're getting from an environmental work group, some might apply more to this demographic and some might apply to some of this demographic. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that some of these educational videos we might only want to show to people who've seen this video, and some of these educational videos we might only want to show to people who've seen this video. And then it's just this is where we start having a call to action, right? It's like an educational video, and then at the end of the video, that's where we put the links in and stuff like that. And if they don't buy it this time, guess what? Everybody who's seen this video, 25%, guess what? They're going to see your next education. Okay. Sorry about that. I just had someone.
All right, cool. Cool. So does this make sense as far as like what I'm trying to demonstrate, is that we start off with the emotional connection, kind of providing them value. This gets us awareness here. This gets us kind of awareness, and even though these people probably are more aware that they have the problem, they're not aware of you. So both the strategies here is to get awareness. This is to get awareness about you because they have the problem, and this is to get awareness about you and the problem. The reason why I want to focus on this group too is because I think we could probably earn a return quicker. But obviously, for you, it's not only about the money, the monetary. It's about helping people avoid the situation that you were in when you were 20 and you were hustling and you weren't paying attention to your body. So so that's what I would like to do.
I almost see a documentary, quite frankly, now that we're saying it.
Right.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, people are scared out of their mind right now. No one wants to have cancer, but there's like a huge, rise in cancer. Right. And there's so many environmental and internal toxins and bombarded with. But yeah, I totally see, creating like a little mini documentary and maybe like a little mini series on it too.
Right.
Interviewing people that are customers and why did they choose their
Exactly. That's exactly what where I'm trying to go with this. Because at the end of the day, I love digital marketing, and I know you do too. But just like sales, marketing, anything that we do, we don't know what's going to resonate. So the more stories that we have, and the more documentaries, like you said, that we have, the more that we can put it out there, and then we just let the numbers dictate. Okay, this Susie's story was better than Roseanne, so let's sorry Roseanne, but we'll stop pushing money for hers, and we'll just put more money into Susie's story, and then that leads to more sales down the road. And then that's just the game that we play. So the more that we could get customers in and get their story, and we could just build up a whole arsenal. Because at the end of the day, why I love video is it's just assets. And once we get Susie's story, we have Susie's story forever. And now we could put that on Facebook, we could put that on YouTube, and we could do put that on Instagram like you use, and we could do a lot of different things with it. And now it's a money making asset. So that's something I think we should build. Because once we have those, that nothing sells. I mean, we could say 20% off all day. But the customers will sell it better than anybody else can, especially if they have great stories. So before I move on, I know you said you were big on education. How do you have like a spot in the spa where you plan to shoot the videos, or how are you how in your head how is these educational videos gonna go?
Yeah, we could do it in the spa. I also see it probably at someone's home or at a home where we're actually doing